Are we ready to meditate with Cory? Lay down, fluff your pillow, snuggle into your covers. I want to tell you about my friend. My 4-year-old friend called Ava. Ava had something that was very dear to her heart. It was her most favorite possession in the entire world. She didn't go anywhere without it, and she wore it every single day for the last 6 months. I'm talking about Ava's magical bracelet. 6 months ago, Ava's grandma Rose bought her a bracelet that was all the different colors of the rainbow in beads, and it had an elastic string going through the beads, and she wore it every day, and she loved it. She loved it because it was magic. Ava's grandma Rose was getting married. Yes, Grandma Rose was getting married. She was marrying Ralph, and Ralph was a sweet old man, and Ava thought he was the best ever. So she was very, very happy for Grandma Rose. But the thing about Ava was that she didn't really like that many people. She did like Ralph, and she did love Grandma Rose. But most of the time, Ava was very choosy about who she liked and who she would let into her little world. And that's okay, because we don't have to force ourselves to like anyone. If we don't like someone, that should be okay. And Ava used her bracelet every day when she didn't like someone. Let me explain. Make sure you lay still and quiet and peaceful so you can listen to Ava's magical bracelet and how it works. This is what she does. She imagines that when she lifts her arm up, the bracelet is on her arm, it's on her wrist. When she lifts her arm up and she holds it in front of someone she doesn't like, she says the words, "Pow!" And in her mind, the person that she's not too fond of, for whatever reason, turns into an animal. It's something that she's been doing for the last 6 months, and Ava is very happy with her magical bracelet and how it helps her deal with some people that she doesn't really like. So let me explain again. What she does is she holds her arm up as if she's like Wonder Woman, and she goes, "Pow!" No one knows what she's doing. Even her parents don't know what she's doing, but Ava knows. And like I said, Ava's 4 years old, and she knows what she's doing. If she doesn't like someone, then she knows. And if she doesn't want to deal with that person, she changes them into an animal, because She loves animals. Now, like I said, Grandma Rose was getting married to Ralph, and Ava and all of her family and lots of other people that Grandma Rose knew was invited to the wedding. The wedding was beautiful and the ceremony was very nice, and Ava thought Grandma Rose and Ralph looked very, very pretty and handsome. And she liked the vicar. He had a nice soft voice. Everything went well, and it came to the reception. The reception is where everyone has a party after the wedding, and sometimes they eat and sometimes they dance, and everyone sits and talks and says hello to family and friends that they may not have seen for a long, long time. Ava was sat with her parents, but her parents were actually foster parents, that they were looking after her, but she'd been living with them for a long time, and it's kind of a complex story, but they weren't Ava's real parents. But she loved them like parents, and she'd been with them for quite some time. So Grandma Rose wasn't really her grandma by blood, but she loved her just like her grandma. So Ava was sat with her parents and her real brother. Her real brother was called Julian, and Julian was 10. Julian, even though she loved him dearly, and he was a very good brother, sometimes got on Ava's nerves just a little bit. So sometimes she would change him into an animal. She would show him her bracelet, hold her little fist up and go pow whenever he was annoying. And this always worked because she changed him into a goat. And when he was a goat, in her mind, she called him Bumblebee, because Julian was obsessed with the Transformers. And she really didn't like Transformers. And all he did was talk about them and play with them. And, oh gosh, whenever it got too much for Ava, she would just pow, turn him into a goat, call him Bumblebee, and that was the end of that. He had no idea what she was talking about, but she thought it was hilarious. So she was sat with her parents and Julian / the goat / Bumblebee at the wedding. The wedding was nice because all the ladies had very pretty dresses on, and she liked that. Her dress was white with tiny little roses sewn on all over the dress, tiny little yellow roses, and it puffed out just the right amount so that when she span around on the dance floor, her dress spilled out all big and wide, and she felt beautiful. There were lots of people at this wedding that Ava wasn't quite sure about. So she had a lot of fun with her magical bracelet. First of all, there was Uncle Steve. She had never really liked Uncle Steve. He had a very big mustache. She didn't like it. She always wondered if he got food stuck in his mustache, or maybe sometimes spiders lived in there. She just didn't like the mustache. And that's all it took. Every time she saw Uncle Steve, pow! He was a pig called Pokey in her mind. And then she liked him much better. There was Cousin Paul. There wasn't anything wrong with Cousin Paul, but he was very, very tall. And Ava had decided that tall people were a little bit scary. She was a bit scared of tall people. She didn't like tall people. So, when she saw Cousin Paul, pow! He was a horse named Pillbox. Don't ask me why. But he was a very nice horse, a very tall horse. And then he was kind of cute, and Ava liked him. There was Grandma Sue. Did not like Grandma Sue. She didn't like Grandma Sue because when Grandma Sue would see her, she would come over and she would kiss her all over her face. And sometimes it was prickly. Grandma Sue was not supposed to have a mustache or a beard, so why was her face prickly? But yet, Grandma Sue was prickly, and Ava did not like that very much at all. Pow! Grandma Sue was a sheep. She used to call her Curly Sue. When she's Curly Sue, she's very hairy because she's a sheep, and that's okay. Sheep can be hairy. Then there was Robert, and Robert was 7 years old, and he lived down the street. And he lived down the street, and sometimes he would play with Julian, and Ava didn't really like him too much. She didn't like him because all he ever wanted to do was talk about cars. And Ava, she didn't really like cars. So whenever Robert would come around, pow, Robert was a chicken. And that chicken was called Robot. She didn't know why, but Robot suited him. It suited him and his cars. So pow, he was a chicken called Robot. She was powing quite a lot at this wedding. There was lots of people there. The next person that she used her magical bracelet on, well, the next two people actually were her cousins, Millie and Carla. Millie and Carla were 5 and they were horrid. They were twins. And I say horrid because they were horrid. Whenever no one was looking, they would pull hair and bite. And Ava really, really, really didn't like to play with them. They would get in trouble all the time, but yet they would still pull hair and bite. They weren't very nice little girls. So Ava would avoid them as much as she could, but they were here at the wedding, so pow, pow! They were ducks called Lemon and Lime, and they were much sweeter as ducks. And all they did was and that made her laugh in her head. Ava's magical bracelet saved her so many times. So many times. What would she ever do without her bracelet that Grandma Rose had bought her? She loved that bracelet. whenever she felt like someone needed to be an animal. And it always worked. She had a wonderful imagination. You should try it sometime. Pow! 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 Chickens, horses, sheep, goats. The wedding was full of animals. Pokey the pig, horse, pillbox, Curly Sue the sheep, robot chicken, and then there were the ducks, Lemon and Lime, and finally Julia and her brother, Bumblebee the goat. It was a very fun wedding. It was really funny. And all the animals kept dancing. And that was really funny. Because in her mind she was seeing goats and pigs and chickens dancing. And it was really, really funny. Got to the end of the night. Ava fell asleep in the car, driving home. She got really snuggly and cuddly and comfortable in her car seat. They'd only been driving 2 minutes and boom, she was out. Fast asleep. The engine of the car was humming. Sending her to sleep. Just like you need to go to sleep right now. Time to have a little nap or go to sleep for the night. Let your tired body get heavy. Let it fall into the ground or into your bed. With your eyes closed, you can imagine all of those animals dancing on the dance floor. I bet that was very funny. For Ava, it was very funny. I don't think I've ever seen a pig dance before. Let your legs get heavy. Your arms, your body. In your mind, with your eyes closed, you can imagine that Ava was pow, turning you into a beautiful butterfly right now as you lay and relax. Imagine your wings starting to flap and raise you up off the floor, off your bed. You're all different colors. You're very, very beautiful. And you fly up and land on a branch in a tree. The tree has lots of tiny little white flowers and they all smell so nice. It smells like summer. You fly here and there and smell all the tiny little flowers in your butterfly body. You fly over to a fruit orchard There's oranges and lemons, all different fruits growing on trees, and you fly here and there, flutter your wings and smell the scents of all the wonderful fruits growing on the trees. You fly higher and fly up into the sky where the birds fly. There's birds flying in all different directions. Other butterflies, maybe they're your friends flying in the sky next to you. Here and there. So nice to just fly higher and higher, and at the same time your body sinks deeper and deeper, falling to sleep. Tiny little butterfly wings hovering above the clouds, high in the sky. Feels so nice to be free and light as a butterfly up in the sky.